Hey guys, it's Maria Park and welcome to our Motherland Fort Salem, technically after show, not to be confused with After the Storm, which I do not get on my Xfinity provider in my area. I have to wait till they post it on YouTube to see it. So I'm not going to quote anything that you might see on After the Storm because I haven't seen it yet. I took a lot of notes on this episode, guys. But I'm going to give you guys a few heads up. If you have been with Approach the Nerd from the beginning in 2019, you know that like Taylor, who plays Rael, I am a Sagittarius, which means I do not mince words. I'm very direct. And I say what's on my mind, regardless of if it hurts your feelings. I do try to have tact. I don't want to purposely hurt people's feelings, but I'm just putting this out there because if you are a Rael fan, and I don't mean an Amalia Home fan. I don't mean a Taylor Hicks fan. I mean, if you are a Rael fan, you are not going to like this stream, and you have my permission to drop the hell out. I don't have the chat box up. You are not going to hurt my feelings. If you are so passionate about this, which is imaginary content, and hurt by what I'm about to say, and you need to unsubscribe, that's fine. I deal with this on everything I review. I'm always going to have that in this fandom world where, unfortunately, people can't separate fantasy from reality. That is fine. So please, this is your moment. Drop out of this chat. Drop out of this live stream because I'm probably not going to you're not going to like what I say. And I'm not going to start with that. I'm just giving you a warning that I'm going to say something. So I will not be offended. Trust me. I won't. All right. So took a lot of notes. I took so many notes. I put it on my tablet. I was like, there's so much crap going on in this episode. I was like, every time I blinked, there was something happening. This episode, first we see Petra. Now, I don't know why Petra decided to take a stroll on the grounds, but she decided to take a stroll on the grounds, and coincidentally, she went and saw Charvel's grave and noticed that it had been disturbed. Now, for plot purposes, I guess we needed her to see this. I don't know why. But whatever, Petra, you do you. And then a guy comes and says, Caller's been kidnapped. And she's like, get the car. And it was like that. It was really interesting how fast that scene went. And so, of course, we see Anacostia is still with Alder. And Alder in this episode, guys, this is the most lividly pissed I have seen this character since the conception of this show. I've never seen her this effing angry. But what got me in my feelings about this was, yes, she's being puppeted, which is ironic if you think about it. What Nicta is doing to her is what she did, technically, not physically, but did to the president. How effed up is that she's being puppeted? Her and the biddies are being controlled against their will. So now she sees what it's like and she's angry. And I'm like, but I mean, technically, you did it too. But again, Alder was like her rage mode. If this was a meter, she's past the meter. She was pissed in this episode. Not only was she pissed, she was also mad when Anacostia told her that Rael was taken by the Chimera. And I was like, well, you know what? This is not your day, Alder. Now, Alder, basically, to be fair, in this episode, referred to Rael as an asset, which we already know. I've been saying this since you realized that, Mother Mushroom chose Rael. And so I actually, and we'll get to the whole tally reaction in a minute. This was completely within character for how I see Alder. I'm just throwing it out there. All right. So now, if you guys are in the comic books, like Deadpool, Wolverine, any character sentiently that can be brought back from the dead, or if you watch this Netflix series called The OA, what the Doctor was doing to Rael was almost exactly what was happening with the characters in the OA. Basically, mad scientists knew were special people. This mad scientist knows that Rael is a special person and decides to use torture to see how special, because batshit crazy. So it was hard for me to seriously watch these scenes where they were cutting, like when they were cutting a square into Rael's throat. I'm like, I couldn't, I was like cringing the entire damn time. I was so upset that they were torturing her. And then when I realized that she was flatlining, it was making me crazy. Now, even though Mother Mushroom, which we all predicted was going to protect Rael, I feel like Rael went through this trial. The Mother Mushroom let her go through this trial, because I'm of the opinion after the witch bomb, the mushroom could have blasted everybody out of that damn room like that. Because Rael, literally in the Tarim territory, when they were in China, she essentially was dying, and Mother Mushroom exploded. There's no reason to believe that that could not have happened in that house. This was kind of like a test by Mother Mushroom to see if Rael was indeed worthy, like Mother Mushroom thought. And I love that Rael was actually inside this like beautiful, mushroomy, purplish, acid trippy, dimension where we got to hear Mother Mushroom. And she's like saying things like, you're basically going to be the one that is, changes the war. Like, you're pretty much endgame, because you don't seek power. And I thought that was effing cool. So I love the fact that the reason the mushroom chose Rael is because Rael didn't want to be chosen to begin with. And that is essentially what saved Rael's life. And when Duke cut her throat, and then like the two daughters were in there, and the mushroom basically after let it happen, and then after it happened, killed them, and then started healing her throat, I was like, all right, this is cool. And then the most horrific thing happened in this episode. They took her to the clean room. The clean room is not a clean room. The clean room is not a clean room. The clean room is a death room. And like they had her in there, and they brought these children, these little witch children in the room. And the doctor's this little sick butt was like, I wonder what would happen. Or like, can you control your attack? Like, or would you just kill these kids? And Rael is like crying. She's like, do whatever you want to me. Just leave them alone. Mother Mushroom is listening. Self-sacrifice. So he brought a big fucking boulder down and crushed Rael, and she flatlined again for a second. She comes back because Mother Mushroom brings her back, and then the kids are not even touched. And I love how one of the camera was like, we can't kill them. It doesn't kill witches. It didn't touch the kids. We can't kill her. What do we do? And I'm like, well, but we did learn in this episode that Mother Mushroom has not built up an immunity against the Black Plague, like the witch plague. So that's definitely the kryptonite, it seems, for Mother Mushroom, which is confusing. I guess I'm just confused because Kalita had it, and Rael healed her last season, and she didn't take it. So then, why didn't the mushroom heal her? Because in this episode, it was actually her mother that ends up taking it and dying, like sacrificing herself to save Rael. So I guess I have questions on this. I'm like, why didn't it heal her? Because I feel like I don't feel like the magic mushroom is pretty much averse to it. I feel like it could handle that Black Plague. I don't know if this was another test, maybe a redemption. When Willa died, she ended up going into the purple mushroom haze world too, because she said the death dream here and can talk here. So Willa, Rael did get to see her mother again as she was leaving and saying all this confusing stuff, like, I hope you forgive me one day, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I'm like, what is happening? Like, in my feelings. All right. And as you know, guys, I don't do straight recaps because I figure if you're in here, you already have watched this episode. So I'm not going to go verbatim down this whole thing, but I'm going to talk about stuff I thought was cool. Poor Tally. I think Tally has also gone through a lot of emotional crap in this episode. She was being questioned by one of the army people. They're like, basically going through her mind. And they're like, all right, cool. Well, go back to base now. They would not tell Rael's dad anything. Like, they treated him like the civilian, because again, they don't treat civilians right. So he's like, but this is my daughter. Nobody would tell him anything. I felt so bad for Edwin. It made me mad. I mean, this is his kid. He'd already thought he lost his wife. This is his kid, and you won't even tell him anything about her safety, her whereabouts, what the plan is, like nothing. And as a parent, I was mortified at that. That's so effing messed up. And then poor Tally is like, well, we're going to get her back. But you can tell she's not confident. And Tally goes and sees Gwen, and Gwen apparently is, I guess she's kind of like undergrounding Dodgers, because we saw Dodgers with her. And I love how they blurred their face really quick. That was such a flash moment from the Arrowverse. And Charmed. And they basically went in, and she's talking to them, and you could tell they didn't really know. They knew about the Camarera, but they didn't know the extent of what they were doing. So Tally goes in and she's like, "You're Dodgers. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't slept. I don't mean to offend you," because that's Tally. She has to apologize first. And then she starts talking about how the Camarera is taking their, voice, cutting their voices out and using it in their messed up work or imitating their work. And then she's like, "So make sure you tell everyone." She's like, "The Army's not telling anyone because they don't want to panic anybody, but tell everybody." So Tally's like, "I don't care. Just tell the whole damn world." And then what broke my heart for Tally, which is how you can see that Tally is beaten down. Gwen says, "We will, and I'll take care of Edwin, but you be safe." And Tally looks at Gwen and says, "How?" And I'm like, you guys are killing me in this show. You're effing killing me in this show. Guys, I love the Bellwether unit like excessively. So like all three of them. So when any of these three are hurting, I have issues. So Tally not knowing where Rael is, she can't reach Abigail. She can't, she's out there on her own again, dealing with all this traumatic crap that she is too young to handle. And I feel so bad for her. And when Tally was basically asked to come to, they call it the warding circle. This is supposed to be a circle. So think of it like the bunker for the president. That's where Alder is with the biddies. They're in this little warding circle to protect them from outside threats that obviously Nicta can get through. But they call, Tally down and they're like, "We just want to tell you that, Rael is safe." And, Abigail called it in, and we'll get to that in a minute. And she's like, "Abigail, what's up with that?" And Anacostia is like, "It's still a mystery to us too." And Alder was like, "Well, I just want to know we secured the asset." And Tally's like, "She's not an asset. She's a damn person, and you don't give a damn about her." And I was like, "Oh, Tally." I was like, that's what I'm talking about. But that scene, though, that whole scene was fascinating to me because, again, I already said that Alder is getting what she's reaped what she sowed and vice versa. So she's getting what she did to the president is coming back to her through Nicta. That scene where they are literally taking a woman. So Nicta and her little seed, or I guess it's a spree cell, because I think she started the spree. We've all said this. She's like stretching this woman's limbs out, and you see Alder like in the air on there, so like stretching her stuff out and puppeting her. I'm like, that's a mess. And there was nothing. Like you saw Anacostia and the medical was trying to save her or trying to stop it, and nothing stopped it. And Tally looked at one of the biddies into her eyes and saw Nicta, and I'm like, that is a mess. That is how do you effing fight that? How do you fight that? I don't understand. Theory. Small side note to the story. Not very important, but I'm telling you, because I've been seeing it since this man got on the damn screen. Vice President Silva is high up, if not generational, Camarera. Because there's no effing way that doctor knew about Rael, that they knew about these children, that they knew about all of the centers, where the centers would be located, where the testing would be located, well, basically what guards were going to be where. And the episode where they were trying to get Abigail, how to know to be there, because they knew Abigail. How would they know Abigail was even going to be on the detail to even bring Charvel's voice? Silva. So they need to take Silva's ass out. I'm just saying. And he was in there, and then like he was insisting right then that they had to go make a statement about the testing centers and blah 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 blah, which try to convince people to go to testing. Which, if you parallel that with today's world, it's the same thing that's happening with COVID. It's like everyone's trying to convince you to go get tested, go get the vaccine. It's like it's so the worlds parallel each other very very interestingly. But I think it's interesting to me that nobody has suspected Silva at this point. None of these people in military intelligence are questioning how in the hell these people even knew about Rael. Because if they're so tight-knit in the army, they didn't say anything. How did they know? The only outside factor that they had when Rael did that test that day was Silva, because the president was under the weather. So how in the hell are they not suspecting Vice President Silva at this point? I mean, this woman's been around, Alder's been around for 300 years. You got to be paranoid by now. You don't get to where you are and they make enemies. So you have to be paranoid by now. Why in the hell have you not sat down and thought, who's telling people this crap? It's not me. I'm like, we lie all the damn time, but I don't understand who is telling the truth. So yeah, just putting my feelings out there because it's a little tiny midget of like a little bucket of the story, but I had to say something about it. So let's get to Adil and my girl Abigail. So Adil, as we like to say in the Black community, showed his ass today. Let's talk about what Adil did. Adil made a blood compass and explained that him and Kalita had vials of blood that they would track each other through, just in case. He made one with Charvel's blood, so they were able to track exactly where Charvel's voice, is currently at. Basically the rest of Charvel, which just happens to be in the same house that they're torturing Rael and also holding the kids. Ba-ba! Now, I'm gonna tell you this. Abigail was not playing in this episode, but I'm gonna say it right now. Adil, if that man decided he liked killing, everybody in that show is effed. Everybody in that show is effed. Rael may have a chance with Mother Mushroom, but everybody else is KO. That man doesn't even know the extent of his abilities. They literally, it started off a little slow. They went to a restaurant. They got into a racist kind of, confrontation. These 2 women or 3 women, I couldn't count. Whenever people talk trash, I don't count them. They were talking trash about, inbreeding, witches and blah, 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 and making fun of Abigail's mother. And then she's like threw her medal down and said she did all right with me. And of course, here comes this guy. I want to say the guy was the owner of this restaurant. And he's like taunting her. You can't do anything. You can't do anything to me because it's illegal. She's like, I can't use work on you. I can still whoop your ass. And then Adil was like, hey, trying to break it up. He's like, she's not wrong here. And then he punched Adil. And Adil was like, you can see it. Adil was like, let me think. I'm a pacifist. But he punched me in my face. Yeah, I'm hit him. It was like he just made that split second decision to hit him. And then he regressed. He felt like crap because he's a pacifist. His entire lineage is pacifism. He did not want to be a person that fought, and he sure as hell didn't want to kill. And so they had this whole conversation, and I could see it from both sides. Him and Kalita are the last to ream. They're the last pacifists. And then you have, bellwethers who are just basically genetically bred to be soldiers and go to war. But they are both Abigail and him are the last technically of their line. Technically, that's not true because we have Kalita, and as long as she doesn't kill anybody, it could still go on a little, I guess. But Adil technically is the last, I want to say, son of his line. He boasts about this family. He had uncles and cousins, and they're all gone. And Abigail says, look, we can either lay here and let them kill us, or we can take their ass out. That's literally that's my summary, but that is what she said to him. And she was like, I know which way I'm going. You need to make that choice for yourself. And so when he decided to get on board with helping her, that's when all the extremely cool shit came out. Like, he did not realize that he was able to do, like, first we knew he could phase through stuff. We've seen him phase. We know he can turn invisible. So he uses invisibility. Him and Abigail phase through the wall. This is where the stuff got real for me. So, and I'll talk about Abigail in a minute because that was also extremely cool and extremely effed up. But Adil realized he could put his hand on the ground and cause a vibration that is so strong, it can make a man into a bendy doll. Like his whole body just started bending like Play-Doh, and he hit the ground. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then they collapsed the entire damn house at the end of the episode. They collapsed. Literally, Abigail's like, they're always going to come after us. And Adil put his hand on the ground. They were nowhere near this house, and the entire house sunk into the damn ground like a sinkhole and an earthquake combined. That man is scary. Adil is scary. Now, I don't know why Abigail's parents or fathers were so against Adil. Adil could literally, as we've shown, take all of the other suitors and bend all their parts together and create a new person because he is that scary. He is scary. And the reason Adil does not realize the extent of his abilities is because they're pacifists and they've never had to experiment. So it does make me wonder if the Camarera had attacked the Tarim when they knew the extent of their abilities and they believed in self-defense, his line may not be extinct, because if one of them can do it, I'm just putting that out there. All right. So, Abigail. They find the house. They find the cages they've been keeping the witch children in, which is effing disgusting. She gets to the person that has Charvel's voice. This man had the audacity to use the voice to talk to her after she already started beating their butt. This was like some 90s horror shit. Like, she started using this seed and his skin started peeling off his face. And I was like, oh shit. Ooh. Like, Abigail leveled up. I'm like, leveled up. Do not F with Abigail. I have learned this. Girl, cray. Like, she was like, and then took the voice back and was like, so yeah, Adil and Abigail together are scary. They're effing scary. Now, I do love the fact that Adil was like, there's another witch here in the cleaning room, a blonde woman who's basically being tortured. And Abigail was like, Rael. And then she just took off. And I'm like, that, go get your girl. All right. Now we're going to talk about Willa and Scilla. Hey, rhyme. Willa and Scilla have a conversation when they're, so basically what they did was they found out by calling Edwin, well, Scilla pretended to be like the administration office for the military, the army, like a recruitment, like kind of like a recruiter in a way. She called and she was like, you know, I'm calling to see if Rael Collier is at home. And of course the dad's like, why? You guys are investigating and no one's telling me anything. And he gets mad and hangs up. And so of course she's like, they got her. And so Willa's freaking out, which makes sense. And I'm trying to get exactly, because I always forget that douchebag's name. So I always have to go back and look it up, because I always forget his name. So I know Exarch. Okay, the Exarch was the person that we saw during the Halloween party that was like the host, who's like pretty well, high up. And I believe he's a police officer. He could be a police commissioner, but he's really high up in the Camarera. Well, Scilla finds him. She basically punches him, pretending to be him, punches him, and then does a seed to basically make him take them to where the children are being held, because she's concluded that's also where Rael is. So they go, and I guess this is my first question. If you wanted to find the kids, why didn't you do that before Rael got kidnapped? I'm just putting this out there. Why didn't you just say, I know how we can find the kids that we couldn't find last time that were in the vet office, they're gone. I'm going to get the Exarch and I'm going to make him take me there. But it wasn't until Rael got kidnapped that they moved forward with that plan. So that is the first problem that I have. And okay, again, warning. I see that there are 20, sometimes 25 people in this stream. I know there are going to be more views on this channel because I get a lot more views on, especially on these videos during the week. If you are a Raela fan, you are not going to like this. Get out of this live stream. The problem that I have with Scilla. Now, this is Scilla. I don't care about Scilla and Rael. I right now do not want Rael and Scilla together. Not because I don't think they have chemistry, not because I love Abigail and Rael, which I do. I actually want them to be endgame, but for a wholly different, another reason. The reason that I have a problem with Scilla is because, and I say this all the time, but I'm going to break this down for you. In this country, we do not romanticize Al-Qaeda. We do not romanticize ISIS. When they go into areas and they bomb, communities, they behead people, they do all this horrible terrorist stuff. We look at the news and we say, wow, that's horrible. What makes me upset about this, especially from fandoms, because fandoms have toxicity, guys. They do. You can love a ship, you can love a story, an anime, a comic book, whatever. But when you take it to a level where it is toxic as hell, I have issues with that because it's imaginary and it's weird. And honestly, you scare the hell out of me. So I'm putting it out there. Romanticizing terrorism is not good. Scilla willingly, trauma aside, because we've all got trauma, baby, trust me, in this world, but we're not inspired to go take it out on 1,600 people. You do not willingly go to an outdoor space, walk in with a balloon, see a little girl looking at you, say, do the spree work that causes that little girl and her mom and that little girl and her mom and like all the other 1,600 people to walk up the stairs and start dropping to their deaths while you turn around and say, we are the spree. And then go about your life. And then you meet Rael and your entire conscience is wrapped around Rael, not about what you did, because you're into Rael. And then your ex shows up, Porter, I believe his name was Porter, and he's calling you out on your shit because he's like, you're a Dodger, where the hell have you been? And so he's a threat. So then you whisper lovingly in his ear, and then he goes and jumps to his damn death. Does no one care about Porter? Was that not a thing? Did nobody care about these 1,600 people that are no longer living? Well, we did see in this season that Scilla did walk to the scene of the crime and she felt a moment of guilt. But then in this episode, she told Willa, end quote, if I'd only brought Rael to you, none of this would have been happening. That tells me the only thing that Scilla cares about is effing Rael. She does not care that she killed these 1,601 people. And the only problem that I have with the fandoms that ship them together, that get so toxic, is if they were not a couple, if Scilla and Rael were not together, if Scilla was just a side character that was antagonist to all of the Bellwether unit, people will be talking trash about this character, calling her every damn name in the book. But because she is a part of our LGBTQ community, I'm a card-carrying member, and because she's got chemistry with Rael, this girl can do any effing thing, and people don't care. She could kill everybody on the damn base, as long as she says, but I just want Rael to be safe, and I love her. Oh, Rayla, what is wrong with you? I don't understand. For me to accept Scilla needs to separate herself from her relationship and fix her fucking self first, and then get with Rael. If you want her with Rael, she needs to go the Sasuke Naruto route. She needs to leave her family and travel around the world redeeming her damn self, and then come back. She needs to show remorse for killing. She has not done that one effing time in this series. So I know people will come at me for saying this. Again, I told you to leave. I don't care if you do. I give 5 shits. I do not like this pairing because it is toxic as hell. Endgame. So just putting it out there. Again, this does not apply to Amalia Home. I think Amalia Home is adorable. I've seen her in interviews. She's very well spoken. She's pretty. I mean, very charismatic. No problem with her. I have a definite problem with the writing in this. This is the one part of this show that makes me it puts me off of this show. And the response of the fans and the people that are such shippers of this ship, I can't. So my problem with this, and I promise you, I'm going to open the chat box in a minute. I really cannot stand a character that only shows remorse because of a damn relationship. It has nothing to do at all with the stuff you did in your past, the stuff that you would still do now if it was not for upsetting Rael. That is BS. So F that. Now back to the not really recap. I did have a question. When Willa and Scilla, I do not like saying this, W and S showed up, and they go and look at the monitors. And they had been like, my spouse pointed this out. They had been like 12 monitors. Why did it take them so damn long to find Rael? Because I'm thinking about this. They got there before Abigail and Adil, or probably at the same time, prospectively, they're on different sides of the house. Adil pretty much saved these kids, got them out of the cages. Abigail fought the 3 Camarera and then literally screamed the skin off another one. Then Adil came behind her, did his little "I'm about to make you a bendy man" technique from the floor. And they were still up there trying to figure out where Rael was on the screen. And I'm like, what took so damn long? Why did it take so long? I don't know. I just had to say something about that. It was very strange. It took a long time for them to find Rael. I will say that I did like the scene where Willow told Scilla. Oh, I hate saying Willa and Scilla. It's so weird. Okay, when W told S to tell my daughter, no matter what, I love you. And I feel, and I'm basically leaving you, was the worst decision of my life. So she goes in after the guy again gives her the witch plague, and she starts healing her. And with their, their own special, like what do Abigail call it, backwater healing, and starts taking on, the plague. And so she's laying on the ground, and my spouse says it looks like the stringy black licorice. It really does. When it's stretched out, it looks effing disgusting. To me, it actually looks like Venom is trying to get into their body. It's like we need another Venom movie, so Venom. That's what it looks like. Every time I see it going on there, I'm like, oh, they're becoming Venom. But so she is able to heal her, and then Abigail shows up because Abigail was coming. Abigail was coming to take on everybody. And I thought that was interesting because she was alone. Adil was with the girls. He couldn't abandon the girls. Abigail came to save Rael by herself. And, I will say Scilla did say, Abigail, don't go in there. It'll kill you. So they're looking, and she's like, who's that? And she says, that's her mother. So she did tell her that. But I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that scene was so powerful, but I wish that Willa had gotten a bigger story with Rael. I wish that they had come to blows, that they had to come to a place where they understood each other. Something like that. I really hate that Willa just went out like that. I don't know why. I did not like that. I felt like we built Willa up just to sacrifice herself for her daughter. So it's like, oh, my mother was alive and now she's dead again, and now I have the same effing trauma, but now I have more of it. So it's like, I don't like that. And now we have Abigail, of course, going back to base with Adil, and they're bringing Scilla. And I don't know how that's going to play out because Scylla's supposed to be in jail. I don't know what's happening with that, but I don't know. I saw the preview for next week. I think Nicta is going to do something to make everybody fight each other. It's going to be insane. Tally really does not seem to want to stop Nicta in a way. If you really look at her face, that's insane. Abigail's already threatened Scilla, saying you take, one step out of line, I will end you. And I mean, I'll clap. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't hate Scilla. I hate how they write Scilla. They write Scilla to literally, she's like that character that only lives for a relationship. That's all you are. It's the same problem I have with Charmed with Macy and Harry. Macy was awesome. She was amazing. She was a scientist, brilliant, gorgeous, but she became hasty, and then she only lived for Harry. Everything was Harry, 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 Harry. I have no self-identity. I have nothing because I'm Harry's B. This is how I feel about this whole thing with Rael and Scilla, except for Scilla literally has not redeemed herself for murder. It is murder. I don't give a shit what people say. It is murder. Terrorists, we don't romanticize. When we start romanticizing terrorist attacks, we already have issues in this country, but we've got bigger issues than I thought. So that is how I feel. And since we live in a culture that is cancel culture, I am surprised people haven't said anything about that, because that is a straight up terrorist attack in a climate where we've been dealing with terrorist attacks for years, especially with ISIS. So I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. Somebody needs to educate me on this because I'm confused. All right. So we are going to, there's a lot of comments in here. Scrolling up. Probably missed some of them. If I missed your earlier stuff, please repost it at the bottom because I had this whole thing closed, so they're gone. Adil is freaking powerful. Sometimes I underestimate him, but he showed out in this episode. That man, I'm telling you, they don't realize that Adil is also a weapon of mass destruction. That man, he was nowhere near that damn house. He was nowhere near it. And we already know he could earthbend. He's like an earthbender. But I mean, that whole vibration thing, that he's a blood tracker. This man. Hi, Mercenary. How are you? I have a theory Nicta was the one implanting the memories in Tally's head. Probably. Nicta has been watching Fort Salem for a while. Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. This show was insidious. Yep. I mean, I'm telling you though, I don't like watching torture stuff. That's why I don't like movies like Hostel. I don't like Saw. I like stuff like Escape Room where you have to think so you don't die, but like that whole torture you slowly stuff, killing you, flatlining you, and then bringing you back to torture you again. I don't like it. Too many comics. I don't like it. Yes, the show is indeed insidious, especially when Abigail destroyed that one guy. That's it does. It is like insidious. There's another movie and I cannot think of it. But it's like the whole his eye, like there's a scene where they throw acid on this guy's face and like his eyes bulge out and his skin just starts like, it's just gross. When she was doing that, I was like, what is happening? Oh, Abigail, man, when she's mad, that girl is no joke. Hi, Nicholas, how are you? See, I didn't. Okay, and he got what he deserved, but that's just one of many that's being purged from this world. Yeah, all the Camarera needs to be purged, especially Vice President Silva. He needs to go. I feel like Alder is not the bad guy of the story overall. No, she's just shady as hell. And I don't feel like she's the bad guy. I feel like the decisions that she's made has caused all of this crap to happen. Like, I think if she did not kill those witches or burn those witches, that didn't want to conscribe that, and cause Nicta to call her black-hearted, the spree would not even be a concept. The Camarera probably is something that is an effect to something that she did. And she is power hungry. She's ambitious. She has puppeted presidents. I will stand by that. I do not think that President Wade is the first one. I think she's every president in office since she became the general for 300 years have probably been puppeted by Alder. So she's not evil, but she's not good. And that's the fine line, I guess. I think Tally's audiovisual synthesis has expanded her reach from not only being able to tell where magic, or in this case, the work is located, but given her natural knower abilities, she can probably pinpoint the exact location and moves that Nicta might make for her captor. Yeah, I was wondering why they didn't have Tally use her powers more to try and find Rael. I mean, I wonder if there's a range. I don't know. I think about that. This whole Alder versus Nicta thing seems so freaking personal, like a toxic breakup. It really does. What if it is a toxic breakup? That's probably another thing we don't know. They had a relationship. Hey, I'm here. My birthday is tomorrow, August 4th. I'm turning 13. Anyway, I just wanted to say I love all of your reviews and videos. Oh, and Naya, I'm sorry. You're 13 and you're in here and I've been cussing. I'm using profane language, so I need to censor that. Happy birthday, Anaya. August 4th is a cool day. Then this is not as important, but my dog's birthday is tomorrow. So I will take a picture of his cake and you guys can see it. I'll put it on the community tab. But yeah, my Labrador Retriever turns 8 tomorrow. So, but happy birthday. Alder is a villain in this story, just not the only one, because we have quite the pressing few that are raising the more we get more info. Very true. Very, very true. Oh yeah, I just finished and the episode. Yeah, the episode was great. But it's always, there's not a bad Fort Salem episode. I've never seen a bad one. Not yet. Which character in Motherland Fort Salem would like to see have their own spinoff? I would like the Bellwether unit to have their own spinoff. I would like them to go rogue and go deal with the Camarera and all the threats outside of the army and be Dodgers. I think that would be very cool. Looks like she's definitely a bad guy, but I'm shocked completely. The promo for next week looks so good. It really does. I'm looking forward to the sneak peeks. It's going to be cool. Honestly, I would love to see Anacostia, maybe even Adil or Tally should things don't work out within the group. Anacostia having her own show would be cool too. Especially if she gets that natural hair going. That'd be cool. That would be cool. Maybe Abigail's mom should have seen Adil use his powers. I bet she would have said yes. I want that boy in my family. I mean, right? Yep. All I've got to say is Raela. So Sam, I think you might be one of the ones that left the stream because I'm not saying Raela. I have a feeling Alder found out about how sinister Nicta's work really was in booting her. I mean, Nicta is and was no sweetheart to be doing this type of work. Well, I mean, we always known she does off-canon magic. We've always known that. Like they banned it because of how aggressive it was. But the problem is that Alder wanted to use it. She wanted it. And that scene where Tally started having those flashbacks, she encouraged it. So I don't think I think it morphed into more nefarious, ways of using it because of Alder. I don't think she would have done half the stuff she did if it wasn't for what Alder did. So, like I said, we need to know the whole story with Nicta and her. We don't know if the memories Tally saw are correct. Just saying. That's true. They could be just Nicta projecting it. But the fact is, we do know that Alder lied about knowing Nicta and that she's redacted from everything too. So her keeping secrets does not help anyone at all. I mean, you don't know what threat's out there. You don't know to prepare for it because you're not telling people. Like the Camarera, they should have been training these girls to fight the Camarera, not just the spree from the beginning, and especially when they realized they were taking their vocal cords out, that doesn't make any damn sense. So I don't know. No, I think Adil is done. From what we saw in tonight's episode, his eyes had changed the second after he was punched and only darkened after seeing the kids being in cages. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's truly going to go over the edge. He's finally got a taste of war, violence, and quite literally blood, and I don't think he has it in him to stop at the moment. He's now a changed man. Only time will tell. I think I really believe that Kalita is going to come back, and it's going to cause a lot of animosity, probably between her and Abigail, or for Abigail, making her brother into this. And then she's going to have a lot of issues with him because he's not a pacifist anymore. He went against their ways. I don't know how she's going to feel about that. I don't know. And as far as I know, we don't know their traditions. And you may not be able to ever come back from that. So that's going to be interesting. Love how Abigail tore that guy's face off. Yep, that was awesome, actually. That was awesome. Let's see. What is this one? We couldn't also rule out the possibility it wasn't the entire memory that was being shown since the biddies kept most of that hidden from Tally. Yeah, when she was there, they were filtering a lot of that stuff. I agree with that. At some point, we're going to have to make a list of all these skills. Well, and I love how when Abigail was like, Adil, you can do that? And he's like, when did you learn to do that? She's like, I didn't know I could do that. Like, literally, it just happened. And I'm like, that's what worries me. What else can Adil do that he doesn't realize he can do? That's some scary. He's scary. He is scary. Yes, we haven't seen the last of him, but I'm more concerned with how he's going to be dealing with this now, since he basically has to come to terms with the notion of throwing away his family's tradition, even though the cause was good. How's that going to play on his psyche? I agree. It is so hard because, there are cultures today, like in Tibet, you have, the Iranian monks who are very, generational pacifists. It would be very hard for them to fight. People could come in there now and demand them leave. And what could they do? They don't believe in fighting. They don't believe in, they probably would die. And that's literally how Adil's people are. The Tarim are like Tibetan monks, in my opinion. And then you've got a whole family of warriors, basically, in the Bellwethers. This coupling is something that probably should have never got together to begin with, because there's no way Abigail and Adil can continue to be in a relationship as long as Adil is a pacifist and she's a soldier. That's just what it is. Their values are not the same. They're cute, but they don't have the same values. So either he has to change or she has to change. Can you really see Abigail being a pacifist? That's not going to happen. So it's on him. And if after this, if he becomes the type of person that goes into himself with guilt and the guilt eats him alive, like something that I think Scilla should do, he's going to show so much remorse for killing these people that were trying to kill him and were trying to kill his girlfriend. He's going to have so much guilt from this. And I don't know how the relationship will stand up if he reverts back to that shame and that guilt. So it's going to be interesting how they handle this. It really is. Pastor, all I know is Nicta isn't the same Nicta we saw in those memories. She's crazy now. True. Are we going to have a list or a tally mark? Of course, she's in the same Nicta. The Nicta in the mid-70s died on that mission. Now she's become a much more cold and calculating witch that's only in it for vengeance and spite, with a deep, sealed hatred for Alder and those that ally with her. It's every comic book and, YA book and, classic book you've ever read. The classic protagonist, antagonist, they used to be friends. Now they're mortal enemies tropes. Yeah. But somebody did point out, though, they could have been in a relationship. We cannot outrule the fact that could have been a thing, because I don't see sexuality as how it's defined here. I kind of feel like it's fluid. So I know Rael, she prefers girls, but it doesn't mean that other people are not willing, because even when they were doing their Beltane dance, there were some girls that ended up stopping with girls. So, and some guys that stopped with guys. You just saw them in the background, like the extras. They probably swing both ways. They're on a spectrum. I'm more concerned about those children in Rael's mental state, given that they witnessed her die by being stoned. That boulder scene was hard. Oh, it was hard. Nicta was in the 90s. I know that the spree started in 97, I believe they said. No, the first attack was 97 or 94 or something like that. So you might be right. It might be the early 90s, but it could be. We don't know how Nicta ages either. We don't know. We don't know anything. We know this much about Nicta. We're going to learn more next week, hopefully. Alder's on sabbatical until further notice. Alder's getting her butt handed to her until further notice. Let's see. Mama Mushroom is so freaking beautiful. She's like heaven. It was so psychedelic. I'm like, I kept thinking Bayrod from Legends of Tomorrow was like getting high in the background. It's like so like acid trippy. It was cool, though. It was very pretty. She formed the spree in the 90s. The incident that caused that development happened much earlier to my knowledge. I thought so, too. But, again, there's so much information in here. We need to make an encyclopedia. They drop dates and names and battles and events so quickly that if you literally sneeze, you'll miss something. So, I'm not sure, because they said Nicta's bottle work started to pop up in the 90s, and we saw her use one when her and Alder were fighting alongside each other. Yeah, I think it was earlier, and then we saw it in 94. 94 is when they had the first bottle work, and then 97 is when the spree's attack started. So, yeah, I think that's probably what happened. Okay. I'll give you that, but hey, I say we kill Vice President Silva. How else are they getting this kind of information? Exactly. He literally travels around the world gathering data on the witches and passes what he knows to the Camarera, and it affiliates all the while playing the role of an unsure, judgmental father to his witch daughter Penelope. I'm telling you, I think he killed his wife, Penelope's mother. I really and truly believe he took out his wife. I really believe that. I believe, it will be really messed up if Silva's wife was the reason they knew they could take the vocal cords. That would be really messed up. He sacrificed his own wife in pursuit of that. Yeah. Now, Hal thought the reunion between Rael and her mother was not how I thought the reunion was going to go, but if that's all we get, I'll accept it. I'm not happy with it. I'm going to be real with you. I needed more. Maybe maybe she can talk to her again in Mama Mushroom in the realm, because it does say that this is where the dead dream, they can speak or whatever. So maybe she can get another candle and talk to her. I don't know. What do you got? Penelope, we need to find her now. Anyone send out a missing persons report or an APB for that girl. Where is she? Huh. Also, I'm still shipping Abigail and Rael. I've always shipped them because I love the tropes. I know I've always loved the tropes where it starts with enemies to frenemies to BFFs to something more. Like Abigail didn't effing hesitate when she said Rael is here. I'm like, I'm telling you, I love that couple. I mean, even I like them right now as BFFs. I'm cool with it. But again, the whole thing, what's happening in the show, I know even Elliot Lawrence is a big, he created the show. He's a big shipper of Rael and Scilla. And I'm sorry. I guess we all have interpretations. I went to film school. I pretty much majored in the screenwriting, and I understand you have to make complex characters, but you need to have something redeemable about that character. You can't have a character that's complex in all of the negative ways. I can't. And your only redemption is through a relationship. I can't handle that. I can't do that. I cannot get behind that. It's a thing. I felt the same thing watching Naruto with Sasuke. I'm like, all the crap he did in that damn anime, if he had just gone home and lived his life with his wife and daughter, I'd been mad as hell. I'm glad he's out there feeling ashamed, doing all he can to redeem himself. Like, because that's what you do when you mess up and you kill people. Imagine President Silva is head of the Camarera. That's what I've been saying. I said that in a previous review, a few reviews. I've always thought he's either the head of it, or he's the one they always mention. We've got members that are in high, in very high offices. I'm like, yeah, the vice president of the United States. I've come to the conclusion that they're drugging the president. And the only reason I'm saying that is I don't think it's a side effect of what Alder did when she puppeted her the second time, because remember, Silva was trying to get all of the testing sites stopped, and the president guaranteed she wasn't going to do it. And then Alder, of course, puppeted her and had her sign that bill into effect. And he was pissed. And I think after that, he realized that the president in this role was a liability. So he's drugging her. He's making the president be out of commission. So he has to go off and handle everything. It's why he was at the testing site for Rael. It's why he's doing all of the, the press conferences and on the announcement, all of this stuff. He is filling the role of the president of the United States because he has President Wade drugged. I am convinced of that. And I think if there is a redemption for Alder for what she did to the president, it's going to be that she realizes the president's being held hostage by her own vice president and being drugged, and she saves her. And then they'll have an uneasy alliance. That might happen. It might happen. But I think that's what's happening. I think Vice President Silva is drugging the hell out of that president, and people just think she's sick. He's doing it. That's what I believe. Man, I may be crazy. I don't know. All right, let's see. Yes, Maria, I'm also a Sagittarius. Yay! What is your birthday? Mine is December 8th. Great sign. Cords ripped out are worse, being brainwashed or tortured, becoming a mindless slave weapon for the Camareras. Similar how hounds, drug mutants, and sentinel services separated by trash industry. There's a lot of trash industries in here. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of things you can kind of relate to a lot of the X-Men, storylines. Bell collar for the win. I absolutely agree. Us Sagittarius are very freaking blunt, and they label us as mean people. We tell like it is, straight up. I mean, it's true. People want you to be honest with them, and then you are honest with them, and they get in their feelings about it, and it's like, okay. You wanted honesty. I don't get it. That's the mother instinct, intuition kicking in. When your child is up to something, that signal goes off. That is so true. Hi, Kevin. Alder is getting a taste of her medicine. Yes. Alder's rage mode was broken. I thought we were in a video game. I'm like, man, they just pumped her up. We went through a side quest and we KO. Like, she was like, she playing like, what was it, Dead by Midnight or Dead by Night, whatever the hell that game Ernie's always playing that I laugh at because he screams like a woman. That's what Alder was doing. Alder was in it. She was like Super Saiyan. Like, it was funny to me. Her anger was funny to me. The Alder character is just so freaking complex. Yeah, I guess that's why I like how they write her, though. They write her so you have a tiny bit of sympathy, but you also realize that she is a catalyst for a lot of bad shit in this universe. So it's a thing. The Mother Mushroom is prepping for the great war that Rael is destined to stop. I know. I'm excited for this war. I really am. This is what exactly happened to Laura Kinney, X-23, before she found out about Gabby. And let's not forget Takeo Sasaki from X-Men Anime 2011 and strangely enough, Elixir. Yeah. Oh, we can literally just write down storylines in comics that like verbatim follow this track. So yeah, I get it. Even if you look at old Betsy Braddock back when she was being literally tortured by Sinister. they took her eyes out and put cameras in her eyes, replaced her eyeballs with cameras and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. I hate when they torture you and they run these experiments on you to get what they want. It's effing sick. It really is. And then let's talk about Bucky, Winter Soldier. So, I mean, there's so many examples you can give here. This show essence of the relationship between God and Moses, but since in their universe, women witches are the history makers, it's Mama Mushroom and Rael. Fair. I'm thinking that Rael took the Black Plague unknowingly, and the black spore explosion as the whip bomb was activated was a residue of the witch plague, but was inverted and returned to sender with twice the force. See, and that's the thing. So, because remember, Rael did say, normally when I heal people, I take their illness on temporarily, and then it goes away. That happened when she touched and was healing Kalita, but it didn't go into her. It went into the ground and absorbed into the ground, and then mushrooms grew. So why could not Mother Mushroom convert the plague, said plague, to mushrooms in the magical realm? Because it was in the actual pretty heavenly psychedelic acid trippy world. So I don't know. It's confusing to me. I'm glad it was one of Alder's biddies that portrayed her. That's got to hurt on a deeply personal level, considering that they're connected. Maybe now she starts to see that she's the problem. I mean, she should have saw it when Anacostia was not telling her stuff. The black goo is stronger with each generation. The early version she cured, the miscellaneous absorbed, killed. The newest version is far more dangerous. I'll give you that. I mean, but eventually I feel like the mushroom would have done something. I don't think Rael can die. I really don't. I think as long as that mushroom is, and Mother Mushroom protects her, she's immortal. For me, that whole asset line said by Alder, I've seen it said so many times by good or bad people in other movies that it didn't bother me. I get that. I mean, again, I'm a military brat. My dad was a Vietnam vet, and then before he retired, he decided to just go back to being a drill sergeant after active service. And I know they used to say assets a lot. That's a word I've heard my entire life. But when you're applying it to somebody that is your sister or your daughter, you know, you consider it your daughter. All the witches are her daughters. That's kind of a slip of the tongue. She probably shouldn't have said that to Tally. You know, Tally's been worried sick, and you're talking about the asset has been recovered. It's like, oh yeah, we got your bag back from claims department at the airport. That's literally what it sounded like. It was messed up. And without being around stable earth or nature, the Muslim couldn't divert the toxic portions of the plague from the host or vessel body. I still feel like I feel like there should have been antibodies created by, you know, Mother Mushroom that gave it a fighting chance to at least try and fight this this evolution of the virus or mutated strand. I don't know. I still think that the Mother Mushroom was a test. They were testing Rael. I think that they could have got Rael out of that situation a lot earlier. I really do. I believe Mama Mushroom is goddess, which is kind of like the parallel to God in the real world. So basically, Rael is Lucy and Mama Mushroom is Aslan. That's basically what you're saying to me right now. I don't think it was the biddy personally, more so that the off-canon work Nicta has been and is more susceptible through the biddy since they have a direct connection to Alder. Basically, the idea, if I can't get through to you, I can get through your close circle and your life support. I mean, I don't disagree with that. Still different about Alder. She's nothing worse than a leader or general. Nicta started as revolutionary, but it's clearly an evil terrorist. Yeah, Nicta. No, don't get me wrong. The Spree are terrorists, period. I'm not sure what you're disagreeing about with Alder. I'm not disagreeing that she's not doing shady stuff like every politician, military leader, and blah, 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 blah in our current world. So we're on the same page as that. But see, the problem is we don't know the extent of what Alder did. Until we know her whole history, until we know all of the little shady little secrets, we can't say what she is because she's been around for 300 years. That is 3 lifespans to F stuff up. So, I mean, her first lifespan should have been like trying everything on the straight and narrow and realize, you know what? This isn't working. So let me start doing what I need to do because these people are crazy and they don't care about us. So now I'm going to do what I want to do. And then when you have that mentality, we have seen it across many platforms of media. It doesn't work out for you. It just takes you down a dark road one that you cannot come back from, where you have, regrets, people get harmed or killed, your lies catch up to you. It's not good. It's just never a good situation. I feel like the Camarera have spies everywhere. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The Camarera are clearly monsters, known them by their works. Oh, they're... yeah. I agree with the VP. As far as Alder, I believe her biddy was a spree agent. I also don't think what was happening to Alder was the same type of puppeting that she did to the president. So that would be interesting. That would be interesting if that biddy was a spree agent. I was under the assumption they were able to connect with one of them. Maybe she's the weakest in the link, the weakest mind. They were able to like puppet her. I don't know. Abigail was ruthless. Yes, Abigail was great. Hopefully Anacostia. I think Silva is a red herring and Nicta is the one who helped the Camarera because she was seeing through the biddy's eyes. Also, maybe due to her help is why they can work with stolen vocal cords. Who knows? that would be interesting. Who would tell Petra? Maybe she can put the pieces together. I just found it interesting that Petra was just walking there. You know what I mean? It's like, I have this huge estate and I chose to walk down this one path, this one direction where our family, keeps their dead, and just for some reason had the urge to go check on my niece that was murdered by the Camarera's grave to see that it was disturbed. It was like, the timing on that was impeccable. Like convenience of plot. But it is what it is. I feel for poor Adil. So do I. Adil, I think, is probably the biggest casualty for me because his sweet pacifist nature is now gone. It's gone. He's jaded. If this is a damage that Adil can do, I wonder what damage can Kalita do on her own. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't think they want to mess with Kalita. Once again, Alder's ego is the reason she doesn't suspect Silver. She said his daughter is one of us. She literally feels like she has him by the balls just because she can control Penelope. And it's her own arrogance, once again, that's going to be her downfall. She needs to stop thinking like that. Start being paranoid about people around you. I also have speculation that Nicta may help the Camarera somehow. I mean, she doesn't even have to use seed to be deadly. That is true. Abigail literally pulled a Siren Silver Banshee move on that Camarera foot soldier. He never stood a chance. I was like, and he was already back against the wall. I'm like, you have not read The Art of War. I'm like, you are already effed. This is definitely one of the nastier episodes we've had seen on this show. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Kalita told Rael to save her brother. She knows the path Adil is walking, and Rael will probably have to pull him back. Abby is not going to do it. The army can never get a hold of Turum's power. I agree with that. Hopefully Rael, Tally, and maybe Gregorio can pull him back from the newly acquired bloodlust. I really believe that his bloodlust is worse than the vengeance that Abigail is feeling right now. We're going to call them W and S. Always love rhyming names. I can't handle it. I can't. It'd be like Maria and diarrhea. I can't do it. Honey Maria, you already know I'm the vice president of the Bell Collarship and the president of Autorel. Yes, I do. And that is a great club to be in. Preach, Maria, preach. Scilla only feels guilt when it comes to Rael. Yep. And I literally thought we were going to have redemption this art. When you saw her looking a little bit uncomfortable, when she was looking at all the people that were putting like the teddy bears down and saying, I miss you, and all the people she killed, I thought, oh, this is the start. And the Anacostia was like, well, look, you're not the same person you were. But I'm like, my problem is in this episode, she literally said, basically she doesn't care about anything as long as Rael's safe. But she said, if only I had brought Rael to you, then we wouldn't be in this mess. I'm like, wow. How about, if only I had not actually done any of this shit. I'm like, as long as I hadn't killed all these people and been like a spree agent and done all of this crap, maybe I could have met her a different way. And then Maria and approached the nerd wouldn't have had a problem with our relationship. But I think I and the people who understand what I'm saying are the only ones that really feel like murder is not acceptable and you don't get a pass because you're in a cute ship. I just feel like you would think that's common sense, thou shalt not kill, but it's not. It's not. You can kill anybody as long as you're hot and as long as you're in a ship that everyone loves. You can do whatever the hell you want. Set anybody on fire. I mean, honestly, Scilla could have just lit a match, killed all those little kids in the cage, and it would have been fine. Because next week she made out with Rael. Bam, we're fine. That's literally how this fandom works. It is scary. This is a very toxic fandom. I'm not saying everybody that ships them is toxic. I'm just saying that the people that come at you angrily, they're scary people. They're scary. Because if you can think on that level, that is very strange and very messed up to me. So, and honestly, I don't want you around me. So I will not be upset if at the end of this, even though I'm trying to grow my small little channel, if I see a big drop in subscribers, I'm going to know who you are and I'm not going to be upset about it because good riddance. That's how I feel about that, because that scares me. You scare me. Honestly, I think people would ship Rael and Scilla together, even if Scilla was a side character. People go even more crazy over fan and ships. I know. And like I said, we all have those ships that we ship them, and even if they don't make sense together, they make sense to us. It doesn't mean you have to go effing crazy on people and attack people because they talk about your ship, or want to cancel somebody because you have a difference of opinion. And toxic love stories are not something that I like. I'm sorry. I am all for, if you are a villain and you redeem yourself and you're like, and then you get with somebody, I'm cool, because you're showing that you effed up and you're showing accountability. And that is the key word here, guys. Accountability. Something characters don't do. They don't do. They act like they don't do anything wrong. And it's like, okay, I love you. We're hot. I did nothing wrong. And the fandom supports this. Like, okay. 1,601 is a very big number. Serial killers can't even boast that sometimes. I don't think I've heard of one serial killer that's killed 1,601 that I know of. 1,601 people. Genocide. I mean, I think slavery and the Holocaust and, a lot of the big Native American massacres like Wounded Knee, maybe. But outside of that, and think about this is historical stuff. I've never heard of one person taking out 1,601 people. So, I mean... If you don't get mad over killing 1,601 people, something wrong with you. I'm sorry. Still had one moment where she felt guilt, and that was all. Yep. Toxic love stories do make for unique viewing experiences. They do. But you got to think about things in linear terms, and you also need to think of things in reality. Like, put yourself in a reality soap. I know this is a make-believe show, but killing is real. Relationships are real. I'm happily married. You stay happily married by communicating and working on your differences and working on your marriage. It's not a fairy tale. You don't go into a marriage and be like, I'm married to you. Now everything is going to be great forever. Every single day, every hour, every minute is wonderful because we're married and like all of our shit doesn't matter. That is not how life works. No. You have a lust phase, a honeymoon phase, and then you have a real phase where you start seeing that person for who they really effing are. And right now, the only person that Scilla is for Rael is obsessed. Like, that's what that is. You are my whole life. I do everything for you. I don't give a crap. I'll kill everybody. I don't give a crap. It's all you. And people love that shit. Love it. Look at the fandoms. My Hero, Harry Potter, and Supernatural Vampire Diaries. It's the same issue. Yep. And toxic as hell. Like, not all the time, but yeah, it is interesting. They were switching camera angles on the screens. There are more cameras than screens. I did see that, but like when they were standing there, they saw Adil and Abigail because they were on the further left screen. And then for a minute, and I think it was the bottom middle or bottom right, you saw Rael laying on this bed. And I'm like, did they not? I don't get how they didn't see where she was. That's what I don't know why it took so long. I don't know how Abigail got to this room without seeing cameras. She got to the clean room without ever looking at a damn camera. And they didn't get there first. Well, they got there like a few minutes before Abigail did. And I just thought that was interesting. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting. Rael gets to see her mom one last time. That still, guys, I really wanted them to have a bigger scene. W and S had to find the place and then take the scares. Can I call Adil Adil? I like Adil and Abby. I like that. Adil and Abby walk through walls when not fighting. That is awesome. I am not making fun of you. This really tickled me. It looks like the Blackbriars that once encased Sleeping Beauty after Sleeping Curse in the Grim Fairy Tale. It sure does. Nasty. And nearly killed the quote-unquote prince that came to save her. That's why they made a Venom trailer come out this week. The parallels. That's exactly why. We need... After a while, we'll see Carnage, too, in this show. That'd be awesome. That will be awesome. Let's see. Scilla is also going to eventually die. Mark my words. I think the fandom will go crazy. You know, I've noticed that a lot of writers basically start catering to the fans. And I think that Elliot knows at this point, if he kills off Scilla, that they will all lose their minds. I really hope people are not just watching this for Raela, because it is a very good show. But I really feel like they would lose it. And honestly, again, I think the actress for Scilla is adorable. I really do. Amaya Holmes is adorable. Amaya Holmes is adorable. Taylor's adorable. I mean, there's not really anybody in this cast I don't think is adorable. So it's just the writing. I don't like it. I can't. This is the one show I never have a problem with the writing except for this. It's just too much for me. It really is. I cannot suspend my disbelief when 1,601 people are dead. They're just dead. I don't know. Scilla is just going to be another asset to Alder now that she has a direct connection to the spree and by extension to Nicta. True. And plus she's got Rael and she feels like she can keep Rael in check. But not sure what that was. I just got a server error from StreamYard. Sorry about that, guys. Which is fine. I'm trying to keep us to like an hour and a half, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully I will not. And this is, with StreamYard. So it is actually StreamYard doing this. I don't know why. I am so sorry, guys. I don't own StreamYard. I just pay for it. So if we do kind of fluctuate out, then I will post in the little comment section there and we can continue our conversation like we normally do every week in the comment section. But let's see if we can get through a few more of the comments and questions before that happens. Hopefully. You shouldn't be getting hate for expressing your opinion. That's why we are here in the first place. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate that. And like I said, I try to entertain everybody else's, perspectives and opinions. Even if I don't agree with it, I'm not going to give you crap over it. But unfortunately, we live in a society where that is not always how that plays out. So, people get in their feelings. Alder could have avoided at least 80% of her problems if she just stopped teasing everyone like children or treating everyone like children. She believes she rules over all witches, and that's no longer the case. Yeah, I feel like we're going to learn a lot about her trauma. She's got a lot of trauma. And sorry, every time I look up here, I'm looking at StreamYard saying, are you still having issues? And I'm like, you tell me. Maybe Alder and Nicta got into a relationship, but Alder cared more about Nicta's work than Nicta. Nicta took it as Alder using her to get her work and use it to bring destruction to their enemies. That is highly possible because she tried to do the same thing with Kalita, and Kalita was like, no, ma'am. So, I mean, that's not something I don't think didn't happen or couldn't happen. I'm just throwing it out there. I would love a conversation between Adil and Scilla. And a dude that feels so conflicted over harming someone out to hurt him versus the girl that barely shows remorse over killing 1,600. Was it 1,602 people? I thought it was 1,601. I haven't been saying 602. Well, yeah, technically she killed the guy, Shane. So you're right. She did kill him. Okay. I can do that. I'd also like to see how Scilla reacts to Nicta. She signed up to join a terrorist organization, not a cult. I think she's going to get an eye-opening experience. Do you think Scilla can be redeemed if she does not change her views on her actions but does not do any more attacks? I think Scilla can be redeemed if she admits she killed people and has remorse for it. That is a beginning. When you show accountability, when you don't say, I only killed them because traditionally people have stoned us as witches. Do you know how many witches were killed by civilians? When you start that line of thought, then you are no better than the people that you are against, because you are the same. You are fighting terrorism and violence with terrorism and violence. So you're the same. You're essentially the same thing. So until she shows remorse, I mean, actually breaks down and says, I killed these people. How do I live with myself? What can I do to make up for all of this? Then no, I don't. That's going to be something that Elliot and the writers' room are going to have to come up with, because I will not accept them in a relationship the way Scilla is now. I'm sorry, I don't accept it at all. And you will see it in my reviews every week, because that's how I feel. Not to be the bearer of bad news, but shouldn't we be more concerned about Dr. Hurst getting away with valuable data on our girls and notable insight to various witch countries, militia? Yeah, but I already know he's going to die. The doctor always gets it in the end. I think the remorse that Scilla feels is not about the act itself, but about the consequence. Like, I don't regret killing your dad, but I regret that you're an orphan. Have you played Mass Effect? I have. And see, that's the thing. When you have remorse, you should feel bad for the people that are left behind, as well as the victims you took out that didn't deserve to die. I mean, yeah, they were there for conscription. They were supporting it, blah, blah, blah. No matter how you feel about it, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we're in a time where you have people that are marching in BLM marches and literally advocating for all kinds of things. And like, police are beating them down. They're getting injured. They're getting killed. And then you have this situation where this person literally goes and walks right into the middle of this big, conscription day and kills all these people. And it's like, you're okay with it. You're literally okay with it. You're okay with it. And I'm like, I don't get that. What if it had been your family member? What if your sister, brother, cousin, wife, daughter, whatever was there? Would you still be like, but I like the ship? People scare me. They really scare me. World War II is coming, according to Elliot Lawrence. Well, poor President Kelly. Everyone's out to get her. The woman just wants to do her job. Is her name Kelly? I've been calling her Wade. I don't know why I'm calling her President Wade. Who is President Wade? Somebody tell me who I'm thinking about. If Scilla wants to redeem herself, she has to start an agency and help the helpless. Yeah, I would. Like I said, I would be down with that. If she was like, I'm going to dedicate my life to helping all of these families, even if I'm not going to come out to them as the one who took away the person that, think of like Rurouni Kenshin. I'm a big Rurouni Kenshin fan. If you don't know who Rurouni Kenshin is, you missed out on a damn good manga series and anime. The live action movies, 2 of them are on Netflix. You can get the rest on Prime. It is about an assassin who wanted to have a better world. And to do this, he killed a lot of people. But then he felt remorse for it. He was like, I made this better world, but I ended all of these people's lives. And so he swore to protect people by never killing again and by protecting people with like a sakamoto, a double-edged sword. And he also, in the manga, went to some of the families that he murdered their family member and confessed. That is redemption. That is redemption. Redemption is not making out with your girlfriend, baby. It's not. It's just not. It never will be. It won't be. My birthday is December 9th. Ooh, day after mine. Awesome. Abigail and Adil, forever love. I'm not opposed to Abigail and Adil. I still really like Abigail with Rael as endgame, only because Scylla's toxic, and I don't think they're going to ever redeem her. And Adil cannot be Abigail. And what I mean by that is he's not, his heart, his soul, his true spirit is not a soldier and a fighter. And the more he's with Abigail, that's exactly what he's going to become. And it's like you're taking this person's nature and their sense of being away from them. And I don't like that. You should never lose yourself in a relationship. That's not how this works. And this is another idea. Even though I love them together, the idea of that is toxic. So I have a problem with it. Dead by Daylight was the game. Thank you, Nicholas. That is what I felt like that was. Like Alder was having a Dead by Daylight moment. My first ship is Tally and Rael since episode 1. That would be so cute together. That singing scene took me out. I mean, again, I could see, let's be clear, I could see Tally with everybody. I could see Tally with everyone. So I could see how that could be a thing. I do. I just love the chemistry. I love how Rael looks at Abigail, especially in this season. I mean, the way they look at each other is actually better than anything I've ever seen any other couple do in that show. And then also, Tally seems to be, I might be seeing this, but it seems like they're kind of pushing her with Gregorio. It looks like that's what they're trying to do, which is interesting because if that happens, she's had every high Atlantan, well, she's been attracted to and has been, having Atlantan men attracted to her. So she basically is attracting men above her station, as they say. So it's interesting. Poor President Wade. The poor woman is going through it because not only is puppeted by some power-hungry crazy witch, but she's being drugged by her own cabinet and charter. Yep. I think that's exactly what's happening. Sorry. You guys can hear me, right? Because it's asking me if I'm having audio trouble. I don't know what is going on with StreamYard, guys. I'm so sorry. It's weird. I don't think I'm having audio trouble. I see the monitor moving. Let me scroll to the bottom really quickly. Do you guys hear me? Let me know if you hear me in the comments because it's acting like you can't and I don't get that. So yeah, let me know. It's okay. I don't know why it's telling me you guys can't. Okay, whatever. I don't know. We're going to ignore StreamYard for right now. I don't know what it's doing. I'm like, I'll deal with customer service later. I'm tired. Do you think Penelope is a double agent? He knew that his daughter was going to be a witch. Maybe she was raised to destroy the army from the inside. So that'll be messed up. Oh my gosh. Because you know what? That would be great writing. That would be great writing if she was the infiltrator. Because what better way of showing this than on national television while they were broadcasting her singing at church? That would be brilliant on his part. Now, did the writers do that? I don't know. I have hope that it's potentially good because the writing on Motherland, Fort Salem is a higher level of writing than some of the CW shows I review and some of the other things I've seen. So I have hope that could be what's happening. If not, that is a missed opportunity. And I think that would be very cool. And it would explain why we don't see Penelope a lot because she's a sleeper agent or she's embedded. Maybe she's with them half the time. I don't know. I think we're slowly building up to a civil war on all sides, from the civilians, the Camarera, the Spree, and the witches of Fort Salem. I think the Salem Accords are going to be burned asunder. I absolutely agree. I'm interested to see what the world looks like after this season. What happens? What is the new, what's the new America? It's so, if you really think about it, it's so symbolic to what's happening in our country right now. It's crazy. Maybe we can get Lydia and Meredith from Teen Wolf on this show because they would be a force of nature with this unit. They're not witches, but I would love to have Kira. I'd love Kira to be on the show from Teen Wolf too. I think that would be very cool. Let's just bring all the werewolves in. I don't care what nobody says. That look Abigail had when Adil destroyed the house was a look of sadness, regret, and uncertainty. Yeah, she had a look on her face. She was like, it was almost like, oh my God, I think I'm responsible for you being this way. Because she looked a little bit guilty. And then she had this like satisfaction a little bit that they were gone. And then this instant regret that he was the one that did it. So I don't know. She knows that isn't who he is. Yeah. Food night, Maria. See you next stream. Bye, Kevin. We're about to end this in about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm more so of the belief that Penelope is either going to wind up dead with her vocal cords ripped out as a future experiment, or being brainwashed due to torture and becoming a true dog of the military. Or the third option is what I thought originally, is that she's going to find out that her dad killed her mother for being a witch, and she's going to become the biggest asset to Alder out of grief and anger. Next episode looks fire. Abigail creates Storm and Abigail and Rael fight. Maybe Nicta use cannon magic or because of Scilla. I'm hoping it's not over Scilla because they have literally bonded. I mean, hell, Abigail freaking died with her pretty much. She literally followed her into death. So if they're fighting over Scilla, I'm gonna be mad as hell. I really think Nicta's gonna make all of them fight. I think she's gonna be controlling all of that. But because I mean, it will be so messed up if we made all of this progress, not only with Abigail and Rael's friendship, but also with the girls as a unit, just to have Scilla come in and F it all up. And you will know if that is what happens next week, you may not want to be in this stream because you know when Maria gets in her feelings, angry grandma comes out, and you don't want angry grandma coming out. I mentioned Mass Effect because Samara says something that resonates with Scilla. If I have to kill a man because he has to die, do I want to know if he was a good father? No, Scilla doesn't want to. Well, that's not just with Mass Effect. That's in psychology. Killers will say that they have to humanize a person to be able to take their lives and have no, actually no remorse. Because they're not every killer, I've learned, is not born without a conscience. But the desire to kill is so strong that you have to make the subject you're trying to kill into an object. They're dehumanized to you. So that is what she does. But I don't get it. I don't get how you can, after the deed is done, after you've been around Rael, who believes in life and doesn't like fighting and doesn't want to be a soldier, but is just forced into this situation, how can you look at that and then feel good about yourself? I don't get it. There's an attack triangle between each organization. The Spree, the Camarera, the Army are each other's enemies. Her name is President Wade. I'm not crazy. And yes, Didi, you're right. I like the triangle idea. I do. And I think it's interesting because if you look at a unit of 3, we learned this in 3 Super Sentai when they have 3 members, they form a triangle too, a triangle of power. So I like it. I like that. How can Tally see things and others can't? Because she's a seer. And she is literally I feel like she's got some kind of an upgrade. We don't know Tally's whole line either. We know that she's also the last of her line. People tend to forget that. But she's the last of her line as well because her mother actually won in court. I think she went to court to have it to have it stated that her daughter did not have to become a soldier and did not have to be conscripted. But Tally volunteered, and that messed up her relationship with her mom. I don't even know if she talks to her mom. I don't know the last time we've heard her even mention her mother. So it's a thing. It is a thing. President Kelly Wade. That's why I'm okay. So we're all right. It's Kelly and Wade. Cool. I don't feel as bad now. All right. So we are almost to an hour and a half. Again, for those few minutes, I don't know if it was a minute, 2 minutes that we got blanked out by StreamYard, which seemed to resolve itself. I don't really know what happens. It just pops up these things on top of the screen. Even right now, it's asking me if the stream's still going. So I don't know what's going on with this. I think they're having tech issues on their server issues. But obviously, you didn't miss a lot in that little blankness time. So forgive me for that. I would love to know more of your opinions and your questions and your theories on everything I talked about. Do not be afraid to tell me that you love Rayla in my comment section. I am not going to attack you. I will say something to you if you come at me because I don't play that on my channel. I'm just being real with you. But you have every right to speak your mind, to say what you want about Rayla. No one's going to hunt you down on this channel and say, oh my gosh. When I say that toxicity scares me, I mean toxicity scares me. If you come at me with this whole craze, oh my God, you don't love Rayla, you need to die. Oh my God, how could you say this about my canon person? You'll understand, blah, blah, blah. That's a whole other conversation. You are the type of person that I'm referring to when I say you scare me and you need to go. But general liking a couple, liking a ship, I don't care. I just don't care. Because at the end of the day, I realized in my old age of almost 45 years old, they ain't real. Like, none of them are real. At the end of the day, Taylor goes home to Canada. I think Amalia goes home to Sweden. They're not even a couple. It is fine. You're going to be okay. At the end of this stream, I'm not even going to think about this yet. I'm just letting you know. Reality. It's not that. I promise you, your life will go on. It'd be fine. But again, feel free to put whatever you want in the comments. You are not going to get any heat, hate, whatever from me. And I won't let anybody else bully anybody else in the comment section either. It's just a thing. I will be doing my Roswell review. I haven't decided if I'm doing a live stream or if I'm doing a video, because last night's episode was also on crack. So whatever, we're going to talk about it. Some stuff going on in that show that's just completely crazy. And then also be on the lookout, because yes, we are going to have our Owl House video. And then I have 2 videos coming out pretty soon that should be interesting as well. So be on the lookout for 2 other videos this week. But yeah, you guys have been awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me. Love, Motherland, Fort Salem. Again, I want to know what your theories are. Put them below. If it is night for you, have a good night. If it is day for you, have a great day. And I will see you in the next video, aka